Welcome back, everybody, to the Seattle Supersonics MyNBA expansion series here in NBA 2K24. We are pretty much ready to end the season. As you can see, we've got 2 games left. We're going to be playing one, obviously, but then after that, we will be done officially with Season 1 under our belt here in this expansion rebuild. As you can see, Isaiah Joe has led the team the whole way through. He has not missed a single game. 80 games started, 80 games played. 16.5 points for him. Coby White, since coming over here, he's averaged about 12, 3, and 4. Not the most efficient like we would have liked. Nasir Little has done great when I'm playing with him, but whenever he's just the CPU, he doesn't do nearly as well, but he's still having a good year. Killian Hayes has surprised me as well. As far as how he's done. We're going to take our first look at the mock drafts. They currently have us sitting around the 11th pick in the mock draft. That's where we will be for the lottery. So unfortunately, we're not looking to have a top 5 selection this year. So that's going to limit the guys that we will really be looking into drafting. As you can see, a couple of different mock drafts. They've got us taking Terrell Nance, the 7-foot center out of Dayton, Ohio. Nance is an impressive athlete for his height, but I don't know if center is going to be our biggest move. They also are predicting us taking Lawrence Reed out of Gonzaga or Devin Atkins out of Florida. But before we do that, we are going to have to get into this final game we'll be playing here in Season 1 up against Scoot Henderson and the Portland Trailblazers. Henderson, obviously, shockingly to most people, fell to number 3 in this past year's draft, but he's going to start the day letting it fly. And it's not going to fall down for Henderson. So we're going to see the Sonics in transition. Coby White, a delayed 3 is good. And Coby White here in the Moda Center for the Trailblazers, starting the day with the scoring. It is 3-0. We're expecting to see Scoot Henderson go head-to-head with Killian Hayes. Hayes is going to have his hands full, but we're also going to see Coby White with his hands full trying to guard Anthony Simons. Now Simons is going to get the ball back from Jeremy Grant. Nice screen from Williams. Simons, a mid-range jumper is good. He is silky smooth with his shooting there on the mid-range and 3-point shots, as we're going to be down or up 8-4 here in this first. Robert Williams steals the pass. Scoot Henderson in transition. Up and in over Killian Hayes. Good defense by Hayes, but still just not good enough to get that one to fall. As we see Anthony Simons, the leaner, is good. And the Trailblazers, a quick run to go down 10-9, now 13-12. They're up by 1. It's going to be a pass to Maxi Kleber, delayed pass to Coby White, and the mid-range jumper is good. This one's a little bit back and forth to start the day. We're already halfway through the first quarter, and the Sonics are up by 1. Henderson, right around 4 minutes left. He's going to drive, lob it up to Williams, and Robert Williams, Time Lord, has finally had a healthy season, thankfully for him. He's deserved it so much. They are now up 20-19. Hamidou Diallo going to dump it down to Ayton and dominating. Tough assignment there for Isaiah Hartenstein and Moses Brown collectively to take on Robert Williams and DeAndre Ayton. But we're going to see Ayo Dosunmu is going to give it out to Cam Reddish. Reddish has played well for this team off the bench, but he hasn't had the major impact that they've wanted him to have. He's going to kick it to Nasir Little from the corner. And just a few inches is all he needs to be wide open. He hits another 3. He has been so good for head coach Milan Mack. We're going to see Ayo Dosunmu give it to Little again. The 3 uncontested this time is good. It doesn't matter if your hand is up or down. That one's deflected. Nice job by Anthony Simons to get a hand on it. Now we're going to see Hamidou Diallo driving. He's going to pump fake up and through the contact. Can't get it to go, but he gets it on board and puts it in. Hamidou Diallo, the former dunk contest champion, as he gets the layup to go. 31-30. Malcolm Brogdon guarded by Ayo. He's going to kick it out back to Diallo. Diallo's going to kick it to Brogdon. Ayo, miscommunication, and his 3 is good. So the Trailblazers going on a bit of a run here, making it a bigger score, 41-32 now. Killian Hayes, not known for his shooting, but that one, if he's left wide open, he's going to have a good shot of making it. Killian Hayes has done so good for this Sonics team. We're going to see Isaiah Joe spin move, kick it outside. It's stolen. 46-37, down to Brogdon, and it's dunked in. A beautiful feed from Jeremy Grant. He extends the defense to the perimeter and then kicks it. We're going to see Scoot Henderson miss the 3. That one should have went down for the 3rd overall pick, but it's going to be a transition opportunity. Nasir Little got a mismatch here. You're going to have to exploit that with Robert Williams. Little over the screen. He is wide open, and he hits it. Nasir Little's got 9 already on the day. And this Sonics team is looking to scratch their way back into it. Final minute, Simons wide open, answers immediately. 53-43, the Sonics have not been able to get stops. We're now in the third quarter down by 7. Killian Hayes going to get the mismatch with Moses Brown. Hayes brings out 8, and so Brown with a nice turnaround left-handed push shot. And he puts it in. A nice job there by Moses Brown. He's fighting for another contract for a team this year, or after this offseason, as we see Anthony Simons left alone. And he hits the 3. That's a tough task for Kobe White to guard him one-on-one. Moses Brown was playing drop coverage. We're going to see Shaedon Sharpe. He struggled today, and that one, oh man, rolls all the way around the rim. So the Sonics, a fast break opportunity. Kobe White, pull up in transition is good. That cuts it down to 3. He's got 16, make it 7 in the quarter. As we now see Anthony Simons, tough layup is good. He has been so big for this Trailblazers team, a team that just recently got rid of Damian Lillard, their longtime star. And Anthony Simons is trying to take over that role. We're going to see Brandon Boston dump it down to Hartenstein, and Simons, not much he could have done there to stop that one. 68-67 now. Henderson driving, pump fakes up and blocked by Hartenstein. Ihart with the great rejection. Didn't fall for the pump fake. Ayo Dosunmu with the spin move. He's got his first bucket of the day. Not a score first point guard. He's going to be a nice defense and pass first point guard. As we deflected pass by Henderson. Hartenstein's got it. It's going to be pushed into the backcourt. What? They're going to call a backcourt violation. Looked like DeAndre Ayton was the one to push it down or out of Isaiah Hartenstein's hands, but they're going to call it backcourt. So the Trailblazers get the ball back 71-71. About 2.5 minutes left. Let's see what they can do with it. Anthony Simons driving. He's going to kick it down to Walker. And Jarris Walker's got the layup to go. Now 12 seconds left. Still 78-77. Ayo Dosunmu driving. Trying to get into the paint. Can't get quite there. It's going to be a dump down to Harrell. Harrell's got a tough task with dominating. He's going to go to Kleba, who's going to go to Reddish, who's going to go to Boston for 3, and it's good! At the buzzer. Ring around the rosy. They just went around the globe there on the perimeter, and they hit the shot to end the quarter. 82-80 now. Simons looking to give the Trailblazers the lead or tie it back up. Simons driving, pulls up. 3 is good. He is so good right now. Anthony Simons has been unstoppable on offense. Fortunately for us, we have Nasir Little to answer. Can't get it to go. Isaiah Hartenstein with the putback slam, and it's an 86-87, now 90-91. This 1-point lead for the Blazers, holding strong, but Killian Hayes, he has been very good today. 13 points for him as we see Scoot Henderson blow the layup. That one is a bunny. And now Nasir Little in transition. He's got a good defender on him. That's Isaiah or Jeremy Grant, but he's going to set the screen. Grant doesn't help, and Kobe White makes it a 4-point game. 95-91, 97-93 now. Kobe White guarding Simmons, and that one is good. Simons dumps it down to Robert Williams for the easy dunk. It's a 2-point game now. Simons going to drive. He's going to kick it up, and it is no good. A rebound by Kobe White. We've got a chance to run with it. Now Killian Hayes in transition. The 3 is good. And Killian Hayes having possibly the greatest game of his life. We see Robert Williams with the offensive board. He's going to go to Scoot Henderson, who drives, spin moves, good defense, lockdown defense. Killian Hayes, give him his 4th rebound of the day. Little in transition, facing her hand in his face. And that one might have been the dagger. 103-97 now. Isaiah Joe trying to run this clock down. It's going to be a screen from Nasir Little. Joe's getting into the paint and throwing it down. He hasn't done much today, but that one could very well do it, as Milan Mack's going to send in the bench warmers. It's a little early, though. With a minute left, we're going to see Scoot Henderson. Nice pump fake and a right-around layup around the outstretched arms of Montrezl Harrell. They have a chance here, 107-99. It's going to be a miss for Kessler Edwards. 20 seconds left. The Trailblazers need a quick score. Grant stumbles, can't get the layup to fall, or couldn't get it up in time, so they're going to go to Simons outside, and the 3 is good. And this one is much closer than expected. 10 seconds left. Reddish down the court, and he throws a turnover. The Trailblazers need a quick bucket. This one up, and it is no good. Time expires anyways. They did a good job of trying to make it interesting there right at the last second, but Portland is going to fall to end their season 107 to 102. Anthony Simons, that guy was crazy good. Both teams had a good day. Simons had 29 and 7, very efficient from the field. Scoot Henderson had 24 and 6 assists and only 1 turnover. Good job from him. Dominating had 14 and 14 as we see Scoot Henderson, the rookie, having a good year for the Trailblazers. They're probably not too worried about missing out on Brandon Miller, maybe just missing out on Victor Wembanyama. Henderson's averaging 15 points per game on the season, and Robert Williams and Ayton both did a good job as the centers. Ayton had 14 and 14. Robert Williams had 10 and 12, as well as a block there. Kobe White led the way for your Sonics, 23, 4 and 4, and 2 steals as well. No turnovers for Kobe White. Big game for him. Killian Hayes, 16, 4 and 5, and 1 steal. No misses from the field. He was 4 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from three-point land. A big game from him. 15 and 6 for Nasir Little. Struggled shooting. Isaiah Hartenstein, 12 and 11. Both teams shot under 60%, which is not obviously shocking, but as you can see, both teams shot under 40% from 3. The turnovers were a big issue for the Sonics, 13 there for them. The Trailblazers only had 5 turnovers, so you've got to be a little bit more careful next time or going into next season. But anyways, we are now ready to go ahead and be at the end of this first season. Before we do that, obviously, I promised it last time. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the second half of this first round and see exactly who is going to be projected. We stopped out on Freddie Smart last time. He was the 7-foot center out of Australia, 21 years old. We're going to pick up with Frederick Rose, the 6'7 small forward out of UConn. The Huskies always produce good NBA talents. This guy has all-star potential. He's got a good defensive knack and a good job at the three-point and mid-range jump shot areas. But unfortunately for him, definitely needs to work on sharing the ball. He's going to be followed up by a much shorter guy, 6'2 point guard, potential all-star point guard out of Miami, Florida. Francis Watts is the prediction there at number 16. He is 22 years old. Miami, Florida. They produce some decent players. He's a good NBA level guy at 22 years old. He's been in the NCAA for a long time. Definitely needs to work on his finishing and his perimeter defense, but he's a good team player. He can shoot, he can pass, he can get a steal here and there. Now we have 6'10 center, finally a shorter than 7-foot center, Shane Long, and you know it's not going to be great. You've got comparisons to Big Country, but this guy is big. 6'10", 253. He's only 19 years old, and he's out of Florida State. He's also got Enes Freedom comparisons there. He's a good post guy. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to get blocks, but he's not really going to give you anything outside on the perimeter. He is a very traditional center there out of Florida State. The Seminoles produced a good one there, as we now have Desmond Howard, not the NBA player, or not the NFL and college football player. This one is from UCLA, 21 years old. Bobby Jones comparisons, Matisse Thybulle. That means this guy is going to be a 3-and-D guy who's also sneaky athletic. This guy has some very good hops, and at 21 years old and playing in a big conference like the Pac-12, he's played some tough competition. So Desmond Howard could be a higher selection. Do not be surprised if he climbs up the ranks just because of his athleticism alone. Next up at number 20, we have Trace Day. Day is a 22-year-old, 6'8 small forward out of Canada. Not a lot of comparisons for him to go off of. He's only played in 1 or 2 mainstream leagues throughout his career. He's always been playing rec leagues and stuff like that. But this guy has shown athletic ability. He's got a good knack for getting through traffic and finishing through the contact. And Trace Day can also shoot it at a decent stroke. So this guy, despite being older, is going to give a team, whoever he gets drafted by, a good chance to have a good 3-and-D athletic player, and maybe a lot of potential there as we see Mr. Stash, Jake Lynch, an all-NBA potential guy out of the NBA G League Ignite, 21-year-old point guard, only 6'2", but he plays just like Tony Parker. He can play defense, he can shoot, he can pass. Not a very athletic guy, but he doesn't need the athleticism where he plays. If I had to compare him to someone in the NBA today, it would probably be TJ McConnell. He's not going to wow you in any way, but he is just an energy guy. As we now see Marion Rice, 6'8" power forward, comparisons to a couple of starters in the NBA. He's got some potential on defense. He's got some potential getting blocks and steals for his position. But the offensive game really needs to work on there for Marion Rice out of UNLV. As we now get to Jonathan. I know it looks like it's a weird name, but that's his name. I mean, what are we going to judge him for? Jonathan Webb III, a 6'6" shooting guard out of Auburn. He's got starter and Kyle Korver comparisons. This guy is undoubtedly the best shooter in the entire draft, and he's a good on-ball defender too. So unlike Korver, who was basically a cone on defense, Jonathan Webb is going to give you a lot on defense. So I'm excited to see if we can maybe get him there late in that first round, as we might be able to make a trade here or there for a couple of first-round picks. Armando Reyes is going to be the 6'10" small forward out of Argentina. Not a lot of known on him as well. Not the greatest passer or the best defensive IQ player, but he can play defense okay. And really, he's just going to get you a lot of rebounds, and he's going to get you a little bit of perimeter defense. As you can see, this guy ranges a lot. He can go late in the second round, or he can go high in the first round. He's going to have a bit of a interesting draft day, I am sure, as well as Trace Bates, the 6'8" power forward out of Canada. Cam Johnson's a good description. Not the greatest defender, but he's not bad. Not the best shooter, but he's a good shooter. And he's just a good all-around power forward, similar to Cam Johnson. He's just one of those guys you want on your team. As we now get into Barney West, a name that I would probably draft him just off of the name alone. 6'8" small forward out of Duke, one of the first Duke guys we've had in this draft. He's a good rebounder for his position. He's got a good shooting ability, but he needs to really get a lot of time to develop in an offensive system, and I do think that's going to hurt his draft stock, as we now see Stanley Reed, the 6'1" short king point guard. Do not let his size fool you. This guy has amazing athleticism. That's why he's compared to Stephon Marbury and Lou Williams, but just with hops. This guy can shoot it well. Not the greatest on defense, obviously, because of his height, but this guy is very athletic. He can get to the paint, and he can score on 7-foot guys. He could score on Vlad Olic out of Serbia, which is our next scouting recruit there. He's a good 7'2" center out of Serbia. He just does everything you expect a 7-foot guy to do, but doesn't block the ball all that well. Something maybe he can develop, but as you can see, the Sporting News has him ranked at 72 in the draft, as we are now closing out on the final few picks of the first round, as we see Edward Blake, a 6'3" point guard, shooting guard out of Northern Iowa. He's a good playmaker, a good shot creator, but needs to work on his athleticism, needs to work on his health as well. He struggled with some injuries, but in college, he's averaging 20 points per game and shooting okay from the field, 33% from three. Not the worst that we've seen in one of these drafts. Sammy Carson, rocking number 23 for Southern Illinois. He's averaging 23 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Carson is a 6'5" shooting guard out of Southern Illinois. Nice shooter. He's got a shoot-first prototype there. So he's going to be athletic. He's going to hit threes. He's going to hit mid-range shots, and that's all they really need him to do. As we have now from Slovenia, Uros Gulab. Interesting name. A good three-point shooter. He's a three-point specialist as well, similar to Jonathan Webb. These guys are some of the best shooters in the entire draft as well. And now we're getting back to our tall center, 7'2", 21 years old, out of Cincinnati, Clarence White III. This guy, he's rocking AK-47's number, and he's got a good paint protection, good offensive game in the paint. Just really needs to find a way to diversify his game and get out there on the three-point line. But that is going to wrap up the first round predictions. I'm not really going to give an in-depth look at any of the guys in that second round. We'll go ahead and look at a few guys, maybe like Oscar Black, who is projected to go maybe 19th overall. He's got all-star potential. He's 22 years old, out of Evansville, and as you can see, the guy's averaging 24 points per game on 36% from three and 43% from the field. He is a good inside-out score type of guy. He can just score from anywhere on the court, as well as a guy like Phil Campbell. He's got a potential 18 overall. It's just hard to focus in on certain guys because any of these guys could go as high as the first round, but many of them are going to drop into that second round, as we are now ready to finish off the season, taking on the Nuggets the last game of the year. They lose. Not a big deal. Nikola Jokic is going to win MVP, 23 points per game, 12 rebounds, 11 assists, a steal and a half, and a half a block a game. But that man is efficient. 57% from the field, 80% from the free throw line, and 44% from three-point land. If he had been able to hit his free throws, he would have been 50, 40, 90, which is crazy for a center to say that. Victor Wembanyama, no surprise here. He won the Rookie of the Year, 18 points per game, 10 rebounds, about 2.5 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Not that efficient from the field, but rookies very rarely are. As we see Jaden Hardy, he was expected to take a jump this year in his second year, and that guy, very, very reliable for the Mavericks this year. He wins 6th Man of the Year. Let's go ahead and see his attributes from last year. Jumping up from 8.8 points per game to 18.5 points per game. The Mavericks maybe found something there in the 21-year-old shooting guard, point guard hybrid there. But out of the NBA G League Ignite, he's looking good. Giannis wins Defensive Player of the Year, averaging a steal and a half and basically 2 blocks there for the Milwaukee Bucks. And Isaiah Joe winning Most Improved Player. Last year he averaged 9.5. This year it's 16 points per game. He doesn't do much outside of scoring, and don't know how well he's going to be as a long-term star on this team, but a second-round pick who's going to average 16 points per game. Very good. Ja Morant, Clutch Player of the Year. He was firing out those shots very quickly, as we now see Darvin Ham. He's going to win Coach of the Year. The Lakers finished 60-22. Executive of the Year goes to Walt Knight for the Memphis Grizzlies. That's going to be me here in a few seasons, hopefully. As we now get our first look at the All-NBA teams, Jokic, Doncic, Antetokounmpo, Ja Morant, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Then we're on the second team. We've got LeBron, we've got Embiid, we've got Harden, we've got Randall, and we've got Butler. And finally, we've got Curry, Young, LaMelo Ball, Evan Mobley, who is injured for a couple of weeks with a pinched nerve, and Anthony Davis. They're rounding out the third team. Defensive teams, everybody you would expect. Paul George, Luka, maybe not somebody you would expect. Not a very good defender in real life. Antetokounmpo, Mobley, and Mitchell Robinson. Then we also have Alexander. Peyton Watson, in his second year, almost 2 blocks per game at 6'7", and almost a steal a game. He is on the second defensive team. Jaren Jackson, Jimmy Butler, and Joel Embiid. All rookie team, Victor Wembanyama, Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, Chet Holmgren, Amon Thompson. And then on the all-rookie second team, we have Misic over there for the Thunder, the 30-year-old rookie, Asar Thompson, Taylor Hendricks, and Jalen Hood-Schifino there for the Lakers. He has been a contributive player for the Lakers' success, but not that much of a contributor there, as we are now done with all those, and we are in the playoffs. Unfortunately, the Sonics, not so much. We are in the playoff tournament, but we are not in the playoffs. As you can see, we sit at currently I don't know why I went over here. We currently sit at the 12 seed, looking outside of the play-in tournament. So that's a sad thing to say, but at the end of the day, we're going to go ahead and simulate the play-in, see all who gets in. The Trailblazers get out, the Raptors get out, the Pelicans get out, and the Cavs get out. So the Vancouver Blizzard, they went a different direction than us, and they were able to get there into that first round. As we can see, the Miami Heat beat the Cavaliers by 1 point there in that first round, knocking them out of the play-in tournament. Then the Raptors lost to the Blizzard, so that left the Cavs and the Blizzard win that one by 6. They were a dominant force there on the Eastern Conference side of things. The Mavericks somehow in the play-in tournament, they dominated the Suns 130-83. The Suns needed 2 chances to get in, as we see the Pelicans beat the Trailblazers, who were actually surprisingly good for them, or for once in this season. And then we see the Suns, I mean, they just demolished the Pelicans, as we are now in the first round. We're going to go ahead and simulate this first round. The Hawks go out quickly. The Knicks go out quickly. The Blizzard go out quickly. The Nuggets are eliminated. The Bucks are eliminated. The Clippers, man, the Mavericks and the Lakers are eliminated. This is everybody who's left. The Boston Celtics move on after beating up on the Bucks in that first round. Not too surprising there. If they were the 6th seed, that was more surprising. And these are the teams that are left. Let's see who's going to make it. The 76ers looking to get to the conference finals here, as the Suns quickly swept by the Warriors. The Heat demolished by the Celtics, and the 76ers beat up on the Bulls, as well as the Thunder barely losing against the Memphis Grizzlies. And we have a rematch over here with the Grizzlies and the Warriors in the conference finals. The 76ers take a 1-0 lead there on the eastern side of things. Golden State next up. We're going to go ahead and look over here. Boston ties it up. Let's see who's going to win this one. It is a tie series. Both sides 1-1. Adam Silver's loving it. 2-1 for the Celtics, looking to rematch with the Warriors, but the Grizzlies take a 2-1 lead. Now the Celtics up 3-1. Can the Grizzlies replicate? No, they cannot. Can the 76ers win a game, win it or go home here? And they do just that. They make it 3-2. They need to come back from 3-1 as the Grizzlies take a 3-2 lead over here. And now, oh my goodness, it's 3-3, and it's going to be a Game 7 matchup over there as the Warriors finally get eliminated there. Klay Thompson had 37, but they lost by 1 point. Ja Morant, nowhere to be seen. Might not even be healthy. Is he not healthy? Is Ja Morant not healthy? Let's see if Ja Morant's not playing and the Grizzlies still won that game. The Memphis Grizzlies won that game without Ja Morant. What game did he go down? Let's see here. He was healthy for game 1? No. Ja Morant has not played this entire series. Has he been playing at all in the playoffs? So he played game 1 here. Okay, so he played all of the last series to game 7. And it looks like he got injured in that game, and they were still able to beat the Warriors. Upset there as the Celtics lose. We see Joel Embiid and Desmond Bane. Pretty much an easy win here if the 76ers play for real. They should be able to sweep through this team without Ja Morant. But the Grizzlies do get a game there in game 2. Not too shocking. And they're going to make it a series. They're going to tie it up. Can the Grizzlies pull off the upset? They do not. It was close, but Joel Embiid gets his finals MVP. Finally, it's about time. He's cried for it for so long. And he's going to get that win there over the Memphis Grizzlies. And now we are in our first offseason. This is where it gets really interesting. Next time out, we're going to go through all of these and go through the draft. And then after that, you guys will see free agency on another episode of this Seattle Supersonics MyNBA expansion rebuild. Thank you all for watching this one. I'll catch each and every one of you next time. Peace.